Yeah.
No, I guess the rest of the evening actually went okay. Peter Billingsley thought that he knew who he was, and then when he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, he explained it. He's like, people have been saying that to me my whole life. You know.
I guess it kind of makes sense. We got to get out of here. We come back. We have Nikki Nichols on, and of course, there's a great new show on ID Discovery, I think premiering tomorrow, right, Eric? It's creeping right up on us. Yep, Cold Valley. You're going to want to check that out. But we come back, we're going to be talking with her about this very, very interesting show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the Wacky Waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the Wacky Waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with us.
Eric Olson and
Dr. Clarissa Cole.
And tonight we have a great show on tap. I also want you to hop on your browsers and go visit thecriminalcode.com, and there's going to be some great information as you listen to the show that you can follow along with. So I will step aside. I'll let the best intro man in the world take a crack at this one.
Ooh, well, thank you so much, Joel. Cold Valley, a riveting investigative documentary that follows 2 women as they work to unravel mysterious disappearances that tormented the Lewis Clark Valley in the late 70s and early 80s. It's coming November 29th, which is tomorrow night, my friends, and December 6th at 9 p. Eastern on Investigation Discovery, ID. Between 1979 and 1982, 5 young people vanished in the small Lewis-Clark Valley area along the border between Washington and Idaho. To this day, only 3 of those bodies have been found, and the other 2 disappearances remain a mystery. The local police worked for years to find the culprit, but with minimal evidence and no leads, the cases were shelved. Nearly 40 years later, Acetin, is that the right? How do we pronounce acetin?
It's Asotin.
Asotin! Thank you.
Right.
Mysterious unnamed voice who didn't hear that from. Asotin County Sheriff's Detective Jackie Nichols, and that wasn't her who told us that, feels a personal obligation to revisit these cases, and she will leave no stone unturned as she dusts off the case files, tracks down old witnesses, and pursues new leads. Nichols has spent countless hours in the pursuit of truth, and the clues all point to one person of interest. She knows his name, but she can't reveal it until she is sure she has the evidence to prosecute him in a court of law. Nichols has one last chance for justice, and time is running out. Who is Jackie Nichols? She is the only detective working in the Asotin County Sheriff's Office in Washington. She jokes that she got the job because she's the only one who wanted it. The truth is, she's a remarkable detective with an amazing reputation. In 2015, she convicted a relative of Al Capone for murder, and she did it without the victim's body. Her daily workload includes traffic collisions, animal abuse, not by her, of course, injuries caused by animals, fraud, robberies, and thefts. With whatever time she has left, she attempts to solve the Lewis-Clark Valley cases. They are never far from her mind. A photo of 12-year-old Christina White hangs on the wall near her desk. Jackie was born in Boston, grew up in Vermont. She graduated from college with a graphic arts degree. Good thing she's using it. She was a stay-at-home mom, a veterinarian's technician, and a corrections officer before becoming a detective. She has 4 children and is married to Ben Nichols, prosecuting attorney for Asotin County. Welcome to the program, Jackie Nichols.
Wow, thank you. I don't know if I can live up to that bio, but it sounds really good. Thank you.
You are welcome. And fascinating case, fascinating story. And as always, I want to turn it over now to Dr. Clarissa Cole, who, as Joel mentioned, has actually written up the case. We have a little bit of gray area here. We don't want to give too much away because this is we haven't seen it. We're going to watch it, I'll tell you what. So the first half is tomorrow night. The second half is the following Thursday, and we will be watching because we want to know what happens. But I'm going to turn it over to Clarissa and get a bit of her take on it. Maybe she can present the actual, as she does in the article, maybe she can present the victims because obviously they're the most important thing going here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good idea to not, reveal too much, but just to give you guys an idea of the case in general, because it's rare to get a serial, what you think is a serial, a stretch of several different crimes. So I'm going to go over the victims really quickly. So it begins in April of 1979. There's a 12-year-old named Christina White, and she went missing from Asotin, Washington. She'd been to the county fair, I guess, by herself, and she telephoned her mom to say she wasn't feeling very good, and her mom agreed to pick her up at the bottom of the hill near the fair. And she hopped on her bike and she went to a friend's house to ask for a wet washcloth to put on her neck because she had had problems with getting like the heat stroke in the summer a little bit. And someone, answered the door, and he claims that he gave her this washcloth. And then she rode off on her bike and no one ever saw her again. On June 26th, 1981, 22-year-old Kristen David, who was an avid bicyclist, she went missing from Lewiston, Washington. She'd been traveling to her summer job at a factory, and she also had sometimes worked at the Lewiston Civic Theater. And several days later, some fishermen found some floating black plastic bags, and they found one bag, and inside they found a woman's torso and a leg. They called police where more bags with more body parts were found. It was eventually discovered that it was the body of Kristen David. And then finally, on September 12th, 1982, 21-year-old Christina Nelson and her 18-year-old stepsister Brandy Miller left home to go to a Safeway store. For those of you that don't have Safeways, it's a grocery store out here on the West Coast. Christina had even left a note on her door for her boyfriend, basically saying, go inside, we'll be right back. But neither girl showed up by the next morning, so the cops were called. And about a year later, 2 sets of skeletal remains were found at the bottom of a ravine near Kendrick, Idaho, and they were identified as Christina and Brandy. And lastly, also on September 12th, so that same night in 1982, 35-year-old Stephen Pierce, I don't know how to pronounce that. Can you help me? His last name? Pearsall. Went missing from the Lewiston Civic Theater, where he'd gone to practice his clarinet and do some of his laundry in the theater's washing machines. He worked as a janitor and a set builder there, and notably the victims Christina Nelson and Brandy Miller had also worked at the theater sometimes. They both attended college at Lewis Clark State, but he went missing that night, and then no one has ever seen him since. His body has not since been recovered. So this is a very wide-ranging case. When you look at this, started in 1979, it goes through at least 1982. We've got a child victim, 12 years old. We got a male victim, 35 years old, and then 3 female victims in their 20s. So, or almost in their 20s in one case. So, could one person be responsible for all these crimes? And I that is what is such a conundrum for me. So that's kind of where we start. Those are all the victims.
Now we go to Detective Jackie once again, and really for the first time. So welcome to the show, and we'd love to hear how all of this came about. How did you become that lone detective there, and what led you to this case? And then we'd just love to hear what you are able to tell us about the forthcoming show and what information you were able to glean. And I know you have a partner too. We don't on the show. We don't want to leave her out either.
Right. Well, of course, it's a very complex case, and there's a lot that goes into it. And how I came to it is once I became the detective for Asotin County. There just is one detective, so you're very busy in that position. But I knew about these cases. They're very well known here. We're a small community, and so everybody talks about them. When you have unsolved homicides in a small community, it really hits home to a lot of people, especially of when it happens to young persons, 12 years old, disappears from a, seemingly safe community, rural. It really hits people, and so everybody knows about these cases. Mm-hmm. So I knew about them too, and the case of Christina White was in my jurisdiction. So I just really wanted to pursue it and see if there was anything that I could do with a fresh set of eyes looking at the cases, or maybe with modern technology, something that could be tried that couldn't have been done previously. Mm-hmm. And so in working on that case extensively, it just bumps up against the other cases. Go ahead.
What have you seen, though, that maybe others have missed? I mean, without giving too much away from the show, but with that fresh set of eyes, there had to have been details other investigators might have missed.
I don't know if it's so much that they missed it as it is, looking at it from a different perspective maybe, or looking at it in totality versus just because at first I just looked at the Christina White case. I thought, okay, there's other cases, and I know they're related, but I just really want to know about my case.
Yeah.
But then I began to, see they're all connected in some way, at least because they're in the valley, and at least 4 of them are directly connected to this person of interest. And so you just can't help but start looking at all the cases together. And so that's what I did, and I don't know if I uncovered anything earth-shattering new. I just think there's newer technology. There's things you can do with DNA testing. Communication is so much easier. Being able to look things up on the internet is so much easier. Being able to see locations, being able to see them from a satellite map right on your computer, it's just a lot easier. And you were talking about my partner. Over the years, I had been in touch with the various family members on these cases, and one who was particularly interested in the cases was Gloria Boberts, who is the cousin of Christina Nelson. And she would contact me and ask me, what was new, what's going on. And she just had a voracious appetite to learn about these cases. And certainly because she wanted to find out